Hey guys, welcome to the 10th part of my series previewing the 2020-21 NBA season. And today we're talking about the Golden State Warriors, one of the most interesting and intriguing teams, and maybe one of the most hard to predict teams for this upcoming season. So, last season the Warriors finished with an NBA worst record of 15-50. This was due to Clay being out for the season and Steph also injuring himself early on in the season and not really coming back. And then Draymond was in and out. They just had a lot of injuries and weren't really the same team after losing KD and then obviously with all the injuries. Um, Mid-season, they traded D'Angelo Russell to the Timberwolves in exchange for Andrew Wiggins and Minnesota's 2021 first round pick, which is top 5 protected. This bad record gave them the second overall pick in this year's draft. And with that pick, they used it to select James Wiseman. There was a lot of rumors that they had traded, pair it with Wiggins this contract, but they ended up just drafting Wiseman. And then on draft night, they received some disappointing news and maybe some really bad news, and that really changes their season. And that Klay Thompson is out for the season, so I won't mention him anymore in this preview. But he's out for the season. That's a huge blow for them, and really takes them down a couple of tiers. They used their trade exception to trade for Kelly Oubre from the Thunder. And they also picked up Brad Wanamaker and Kent Bazemore this offseason. So, if we look at a projected starting lineup, I think it'll be Curry, of course, Andrew Wiggins, Kelly Oubre, Draymond Green, and James Wiseman. So, with Curry, obviously he had the hand injury last season, but I still think he's going to be one of the best players in the NBA when he comes back. Not last season, which he didn't play much, but the season before, he averaged about 27 points, 5 rebounds, and 5 assists. And we all know what a great player he is and what a great shooter is, but also his ball handling and his playmaking and everything like that. And a lot of people thought he'd be in with a shot of winning the Most Valuable Player award last season. Obviously, that didn't happen because he was injured, but he could definitely be in contention this year as he'll definitely be the undisputed first option. He won't have to share the ball with anyone really, so he can have as many shots as he wants. We'll see if how the offense gets him open looks. Obviously, it's a big blow that Klay Thompson's out, but I'm sure he'll be running off screens and doing all those types of things. And so we'll really have to see with Curry how good he is with it coming back from the injury, but I'm sure he's still going to be a really good player and their most important player for sure. So they're really going to be counting on him, and he's really going to be like the big determining factor on how good they're going to be this season. They also have Andrew Wiggins. I'm not too high on Andrew Wiggins, to be honest. I feel like every year we're saying, oh, this is the year Wiggins could really fulfill his potential and take a leap. No, he hasn't done it for the past 5 years. He's not going to do it this year. I don't really like the trade for him. I know they got the first round pick, which is the main asset, but you have Wiggins' contract on the books. Still can average 20 a game, and that could be key with Clay missing, but it's really just like the efficiency and the defense and the effort. So we'll see. You never know. Maybe in this Warriors system, if anyone can make Wiggins fulfill his potential, it's the Golden State Warriors, but I'm not too optimistic. They also trade for Kelly Oubre Jr. Not a perfect fit, but can definitely give you some scoring. Averaged about 19 a game last season. A great finisher on the inside, has some wild dunks, but the question with him is just, can he be a consistent shooter from the outside? Was decent last year, about 35%, not great, but we'll just have to see about that because that's really going to determine a lot. Okay, they also have Draymond Green, who was also injured last season, and just like Draymond's the type of player that is way more valuable when you have good players and you can complement them than when he's trying to be like a scorer or not playing with great players. But we all know how influential and impactful he is with his defense and his playmaking. Um, we'll have to see how good he is. Obviously, there's been signs that he's been declining, but he's really going to be important for them, especially defensively, setting the tone, and then offensively handling the ball and playmaking a bit when Curry is getting off ball and doing his thing. So we'll have to see with Draymond. I'm not sure. I'm sure the Warriors are really hoping that he can be back to his best, and that would really, really help them out. But we'll just have to wait and see. They also drafted James Wiseman, who I think will probably be the starting center. I'm not 100% sure about that, but I'm not a huge Wiseman fan, but I haven't really seen him play too much. With rookies, it's just hard to tell how good they're going to be. But, I don't love him on defense, and that's not great. But, the Warriors don't demand too much out of their centers. It just run the floor, catch lobs, that type of thing. And I'm sure he can do that. And then he obviously has that offensive potential, moves really nicely around the floor, but we'll have to see about that. He's still raw offensively, but he could really turn into a good player, but I'm not sure how good he'll be this year, and that could be a bit of a worry for the Warriors, but we'll have to wait and see. The bench unit, the backups, Brad Wanamaker they picked up. He's a fine backup point guard, just plays hard, that type of thing. They also have Nico Mannion, who they drafted. Not sure how many minutes he'll get. At the backup two guard, they have Damian Lee, who averaged about 13 points a game last season, so hopefully they'll be hoping he can provide scoring off the bench. They also have Jordan Poole, one of the most inefficient players last year, but just a rookie. And then Kent Bazemore, we'll have to see how good he is too. I think he's been a valuable contributor off the bench, averaging about 10 points, a couple boards, that type of thing. And then they have the rookie from last year, Eric Pascal. He averaged about 14 points, and they're really going to need his scoring. And I'm sure he'll play a lot of minutes, and you can have Draymond Green at the 5 and him at the 4, Pascal. So we'll have to see about that. They're going to be hoping that his scoring can translate into a better team and a more winning team, hopefully for them. And then at backup center, they have Kevon Looney, Marquise Chris. Warriors don't ask too much out of their centers. I'm sure those guys will be fine. So the positive things for the Warriors is they have Curry, and we'll really have to see how good he is this season. But if they're going to be making the playoffs or a higher seed in the playoffs, it's really going to be down to Curry and how good he is. Again, we'll have to see, but he could really make or break their season. And if he gets injured, they're screwed. They really need him to stay healthy and play well. So he's a really good player, but that's a lot of responsibility. So just with Clay going out, we'll have to really wait and see, but that's really a positive. And I feel like this is a decent all-round team. All their starters are decent players. I can't see them being terrible like they were last year, unless Curry goes down, of course. Some of the negatives, though, injuries, they're not a very deep team, so if anyone gets injured, and then they already have Clay injured, their defense, you just don't know with a rookie center, and Curry's not a great defender, so and Draymond might be a bit declining, so we just don't know. Another thing is they're not a great three-point shooting team. Apart from Curry, he was probably the only positive shooter. Wiggins is an okay shooter. Oubre is questionable at times. Draymond's not a good shooter, and Wiseman's a non-shooter. So we'll have to wait and see. This isn't as big an issue as it would be if Giannis was your best player, since Curry does so much of his damage from three. He doesn't need this floor to be spaced. And if guys like Wiggins and Green and Oubre can be setting screens for him off ball, then I'm sure it can work out. But that's just something to be a bit worried about. And then they're not a very deep team. I look at the bench unit, and sure there's some guys who are gonna okay, but the original Warriors teams were built around good depth, and then they got KD, but they don't have that star power anymore. apart from Curry, and the depth isn't really there. So I'm a bit concerned about this team, like especially with the West being so tough. Um, I'm actually gonna predict them to miss the playoffs but make the play-in, so the ninth seed. So that would put them in the play-in game, which I think they can maybe squeeze into the playoffs with. But you really don't know with this team. If they get an injury, they're screwed. There's a lot on Curry, and I'm not too sure about the rest of the roster. So, thanks for watching, guys.